Hi Luke, I know we have Angus with us today in the clinic and we did a blood test, so I'm going to go over the results with you, and if you have any questions at the end you can let me know. So first, the value for the white blood cells, it looks excellent. If it were to be increased, it would be called leukocytosis, and that would be due to bacterial infection, and if it were decreased it would be leukocytopenia, which would be due to a viral infection. Next are the lymphocytes. These are antibody production. The value looks excellent, but if it were to be increased, it would be lymphocytosis, which is due to infection, and a decrease is lymphocytopenia, which is due to a stress leukogram. Next are the monocytes. The value looks excellent as well. If these were to be increased, it would be monocytosis, which is due to chronic infection, but if they're decreased, they have no clinical significance, so we don't have to worry about that. Next are the neutrophils. The value looks really good there too. If these were increased, it's neutrophilia, which is due to a stress leukogram, and if they are decreased, it's neutrocytopenia, which is due to a bad infection. Next are the eosinophils. These look really good as well. If they were increased, it would be due to parasitism, which is eosinophilia, and the decrease is not clinically significant. Next are the basophils. These look really good. An increase is basophilia, and it's due to chronic disease, but they all look really good, so we don't have to worry about that. So next we have the red blood cells. These are the solid portion of blood, and the value looks really good, but if it were to be increased, it would be polycythemia, which is due to dehydration, or anemia, which is a decrease, which would be due to a reduced blood production. The next thing is the hemoglobin. Value looks excellent. If it was increased, it would be due to chronic infection, and if it was decreased, it would be due to dehydration. The next thing is the hematocrit, which is the percent of the red blood cells that we measure, and if the value looks really good, but if it were to be increased, it would be due to dehydration, and if it were decreased, it would be due to cell destruction. But those all look really good. So next is the MCV, MCH, and the MCHC, which all are kind of linked together, but these all look very good due to the fact that the hematocrit and the red blood cells look good, so we don't have to worry about why the MCHC is highlighted and a little bit decreased. The next thing are the platelets. The platelet count looks really good. If it were to be increased, it would be thrombocytosis, which is not clinically significant, so we don't have to worry about that. But if they were to be decreased, it would be thrombocytopenia, which is due to genetic disorders. Next is the albumin. This is these help bind and transport protein in the liver, and the value looks really good. Next is the alkaline phosphatase, and the value looks really good there as well, which these function in the gallbladder. The ALT is the alanine transminase, and this value looks good too, and it does function in the liver. The next is the amylase, and this functions in the pancreas, but the value does look really good. Next is the T bilirubin. This value also looks excellent, and this functions in the gallbladder and breaks down red blood cells. The BUN and the creatinine both look really excellent, and these two both function in the kidney, and they help remove waste from the kidney. Next is the calcium, and if the calcium were to be increased, it would be called hypercalcemia, and this would be due to cancer, and if it was decreased, it would be hypocalcemia, which would be due to electrolytes. Next is the phosphorus. This value does look really good. If it's increased, it would be due to kidney damage, and if it was decreased, it would be due to dehydration. The next thing is the sodium, and the sodium levels do look really good, but if it were to be increased, it would be due to H2O, which is water, dehydration or deprivation, and if the value were to be lower, it would be due to a disorder, a GI disorder. The next thing is the potassium, and if this was increased, it would be due to kidney damage, but it all looks really good. Next is the total protein. The total protein value looks really good. This measures the hydration status, and if it were to be increased, it would be dehydrated, and if it were to be decreased, it would be overhydrated. So those are kind of opposite of each other. Next is the globulin, and if it was increased, it would be due to an infectious disease, and if it was decreased, it could be due to inherited disorders, but that value looks really good. So, do you have any questions?
Why is the glucose highlighted?
So the glucose is a little bit elevated due to excitement and stress. The glucose does break down starches and glycogen.
Okay, what about the MCHC is highlighted as well?
So the MCHC is the mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration, and that measures the concentration of hemoglobin in a given volume of packed red blood cells. But since the hematocrit and the red blood cells look really good, we don't have to worry about why that is a little bit decreased, because that is just a calculation of the two.
Okay. What's the next step?
So the next step is just maybe come in next month and we can run a test again if you were worried about the glucose. But I think that the glucose is just because of stress and excitement due to being in a clinic or getting the blood drawn. So I don't think we have anything to worry about. So I would just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you.